Hi, this is Barb Crowley, and welcome to Metaphysics, A View Through the Veil. Today we're talking to Joy Baker. Joy is a gifted healer who uses clearing and activation to release trapped emotions that impact every part of our lives. We're going to talk about her work, the Matrix, the New Earth, going from 3D to 5D, expansion, abundance, and so much more. Welcome to the show, Joy. So glad to have you here.
Hi, Barb. It's so great to be on your show. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the interacting with you and seeing what comes up.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. So, but I want you to start at the beginning. How did you get into this work? And, I used to say to people, what blew open your soul?
I guess that's a really good way to put it.
Hmm.
I couldn't stay stuck any longer. I'd gotten so shy. Like I used to work with horses and I was with the horses at that time, the race horses. Physically, I was 7 days a week. I was falling apart. I was just so amazingly shy. I'd gone through, like most people on the path, a lot of abuse and trauma growing up and a lot of bullying and different stuff happening at home. And I just got shyer and shyer, and then being in abusive relationships, and with the relationship falling apart and my body falling apart.
Yeah,
And it was like I went, okay, something's got to change. And plus financially, I was just, even though I was working all the time, I just couldn't keep going physically and financially.
hmm,
And I actually joined a network marketing company. I mean, initially to make money, and it was a nutritional company. And then I started reading those books, and they're all about the mind and, what the mind can do and such. But to me, it was completely new. And
yeah,
from there, I just ended up leaving the horses and a relationship and got more and more into personal growth and my inner work and kind of realized the path I was embarking on, which I kind of hesitated. I'm like, okay, this is really going to bring up a lot of pain and trauma and stuff I hadn't remembered.
yeah.
And but then as I got more into it, I was introduced to energy work and learned about chakras. Completely fascinated, the whole chakras and energy systems and that and meridians. And I mean, I was hooked. And then I started using it on myself and seeing the benefits of any energy work and realizing we're all energy. And I just went from there and just, yeah, I was hooked and just started studying it. And then eventually, because of probably about 2 decades of really intense inner work, realized that I had a gift and I wanted to support and inspire others anyways. At first, I thought it was really good. I thought it was going to be coaching, and that was really the path I was following, coaching. And then as I was introduced more and more to energy work and used it on myself and felt the differences,
Hmm.
then I just followed that more and more, and my intuition started to open up. So it just kind of was a flow and evolving and, the ascension process, and gained a greater understanding. And it became clearer, Barb, on how the 3D, what I call the matrix, the 3D consciousness and those energies are all about, they're designed as a structure to limit us, scarcity, about lack, limitation, about restriction, and it keeps us stuck in struggle and confinement and keeps the body's energies confined in struggle and we struggle enough and limit ourselves enough, we're going to experience pain in the body. And and then, it was like, how do we get out of that? I learned about the new earth, the fifth dimension, the higher dimensions, freedom, flow, abundance. The fourth dimension, that's the portal. That's where you're doing the inner work. So you've got the third dimension, what I call the matrix, and that's fear-based. So when you're stuck there, you're stuck there when you're stuck in lack, limitation, scarcity. Nothing seems to work out. It's just
Hmm.
that struggle
But
place.
everybody talks about we're in 3D going to 5D. I'm one of the people who say, well, what happened to 4D? Somebody said to me, you don't want to go there.
Well,
You know,
it's a really good question. Like, where's that? Well, that's a portal between 3D and 5D. That's where you're doing your inner work. So you're not really stuck. You're not stuck, but you're not really feeling the expansion and the abundance and the flow and ease yet either. But so, and sometimes they can spend years there, but think of that as a portal
Mhm.
or a gateway to the higher dimensions.
The
And
hallway. Somebody
yeah,
called it's a
exactly.
dark hallway.
Yeah, that becomes lighter and lighter until
Yeah.
you see the expansion of the fifth dimension.
Are
And
we all in? Do we all arrive here in 3D? Are we all
we
3D?
we have been up until now. There's younger kids being the consciousness of humanity has just changed so much, even the past 5 years, never mind
Mm.
10, 20, 30, 50 years and such. And, but like myself, yourself, yes, we would have been birthed into the third dimension.
Mhm.
And what I have seen and what I see and believe is that as light workers, highly sensitive empath, we were seeded as, we're here to seed the light. So we were birthed into that density, very 3D, other people. That's often why we feel, we have wounds of feeling understood and nobody cares and nobody,
Yeah.
saw us and such, is because we're a light, that highly sensitive, bright light in that heavy density. Now that's changing a lot. That's, the consciousness is raising in throughout humanity. I mean, the Schumann resonance of the earth, that's increasing. So I
Mhm.
believe there are some families that are of a much higher consciousness, and the kids that are being born into them, they're they're born of a higher consciousness and they're not in that heavy density. And so yeah, that is changing.
So we were born into the density. So as the vibrations change and we're going into the 5D. Um, other than I look out in the world and think it is a mess.
Hmm.
Other than that, what is happening to us? Because most people aren't don't seem to be making it from, I mean, our comfort zone is 3D.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So
That's
coming out of that, I mean, how is that happening for the majority of us? And is it happening, or are some people just stuck and not coming out?
some people, yeah, will be stuck. They're just in their current lifetime, they're just not going to come out of 3D. And I think that'll be a lot of people, probably the majority.
Mm,
The chaos that's going on right now, because it's happening on a global scale, and then we have the internet, so we can
mhm.
witness and see all this chaos. It
Right.
appears, and it's really chaos. I call it the Great Awakening we're going through. But it's also the chaotic energy is breaking up the density. And we need to go through that. As humans living this, there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of suffering, or your person's witnessing that. It's everywhere. But
Hmm.
it's something as humans we have to go through. And
A
some
lot of
people,
fear. A lot of
oh, a lot of
fear.
fear, absolutely.
Fear that's breeding hate and bigotry and anger and I'm afraid war. It's like, oh, God, we're going backwards. We're going, you know.
It feels that way, but we're not actually. If you could look back 50 or 100 years, actually the density around the planet, like from an energetic perspective, was much greater, was much more dense in humanity and around the planet than it is now. There's much more light. It's almost like cracks in density and the light is coming in.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, angry, upset people out there, or fearful. The fear is the thread that holds together the matrix and that third dimension. And the past 5 years, there's been a huge fear narrative marketed, I guess about 4.5 years. So
Right.
that intensified. And but it's like everything it appears that well, it is, it's intensifying, but it's also breaking up. And in time, we'll live in a very different world. And in human years, living it seems like a long time. But when you look at the divine plan, it's a very short time.
Hmm.
And some people will, yeah, their struggle and eventually leave this earth. Some people will just say, I've had enough, and leave the earth, and some that are in the 5D. See, you can of course be, on this path of ascension and still feel really scared. But when there are higher beings, non-physical light beings that are looking out for us. I mean, there's so much uh, angelic energy, the divine presence supporting us. We've got so much support. When you can really believe in that, ground in that, center with that, align with that, with the knowing that we are being looked after, we are being supported through all of this. And everything that's happening, when you look at it with the five senses, appears like it's all falling apart and what's going on and it's getting worse, but it's breaking up and it's
Mm.
letting go. We are being looked at. We not looked after. I don't want to say looked after. We're being supported and guided.
How many of us are going to make it through?
What do you mean
Because
by
it,
make it through? What's the
um,
interpretation of that?
it's almost like we're headed for self-destruction. We're just, um, the intensity of the emotions and the negative emotions, the dark emotions, seem to have won out, and the intensity of them, I worry, we're we're moving to hurt each other, to everything from war to just nastiness, meanness. Americans used to be pretty kind people, and now they're just mean. You know? Things like this, like, oh, we're going to make it. Can you come back from this into kindness?
Oh,
Into
absolutely.
a community where people cared for each other and helped each other. And the spot we're in right now, how do you come from this to kindness again without a war binding us all together? You know how it is. An outside threat will make will make a community out of you real quick. But I hate that idea, to have an outside threat. So how do we come back from this? How do we become the kind, caring people we used to be?
Are you talking about when we come back from this? Are you talking about like the past few years? Are you talking about the past few like centuries?
No, the past 2 years. I see the erosion over the past 50 years, but certainly the past 10 years have been just vicious, just vicious. And people now don't care for each other, in the last few years. I remember I'd fly into New York City and I'd take mass transit and I'd get to the top of um, not Port Authority, Madison Square Garden. At the top, when you walk on the street to Madison Square Garden, for me to go down and take the trains or whatever I was taking, there's this big staircase. Well, I've got bags and I'm short,
Mm-hmm.
so for years, people would just come up and sometimes it'd say, "Can I help?" I've had people literally just grab the bag and walk away and drop it at the bottom of the steps and never say a word,
Mm-hmm.
just automatically help. And then Trump became president. And I don't mean to get political at all. And suddenly nobody would help. I couldn't get that bag down those stairs and nobody would help. And it took a few years before people would help. And I was at that point turning around and saying, can you help me with this bag? And people would just rush past me. It was like the whole country had shifted into into a world that was just them. They had lost the connection with other people. And this is New York City, which is pretty democratic.
Mm-hmm.
But it was that obvious, and then it took a few years before people would help me with the bag again. And before that, they just, nothing, just would leave me standing there almost knocking me
Mm-hmm.
down. I know, for an example,
Right. Right.
you know.
It's the world has, yeah, the world has changed A whole lot, I know too, from like when I grew up and I was
Yeah.
in my 30s and 40s and such. The world has changed a whole lot, but first of all, there were some lessons there for you as far as you needed to step into your power and ask for help. And like now, if somebody just grabbed somebody's bags, even with good intention, and took them to the bottom of the stairs, that person would be freaking out because they would expect
Actually, I
them.
did
Yeah,
freak out. I thought, oh my God,
yeah,
they've
yeah,
stolen my bag.
yeah.
And then they
And
drop it at the bottom. And then I started to realize, oh, that's a thing.
right, right.
They don't want to take
And
the time. They'll just do it. But yeah, I did freak out
ultimately,
at
though,
at the beginning.
a
It was
bit,
like, oh
yeah,
my God, somebody's stolen my suitcase right out of my hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
a bit.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, it's what world do you want to live in? The kindness, whatever is within you radiates from you.
Hmm.
So even including that 95% of us, is our unconscious conditioning we receive from, as kids. So thoughts, beliefs, emotions, behaviors, what we believe about the world and other people, that's your conditioning, that's radiating out from you. And the world, yes, the world is there, everything is changing in the world. There's complete chaos. It's coming to the light. This is what I heard as you
Hmm.
were talking. The people that don't care, that are stuck in that 3D conditioning, that fear-based conditioning, and they're coming from that place of not caring, that's coming to the light. And people like yourself, myself, the empathic, highly sensitive light, peaceful light warriors out there, it's almost like we have to balance that out by caring, but caring for yourself and letting that radiate from you.
Hmm.
So all this has been there. I don't believe it just happened. But the people, like for people, let's say the political party that got in, and now it feels like nobody cares, that's still there. It's just coming to the light. And the very fact that we're talking to it, it's coming to the light. But you know what you can do, Barb, myself, everybody else, we can be that beacon of light and kindness and such. Now, I want to be really clear because I can feel this coming in. That's not being a doormat. That's not sacrificing yourself. That's not saying when somebody says, I need you to do this, or would you do this, you just drop everything and sacrifice yourself. You definitely want to have clear boundaries and take care of yourself. But from that place, you can have very clear, grounded, strong boundaries and still be kind. Because ultimately, the kindness comes from you first.
Hmm.
So this is, I mean, we're all growing and learning from this. And yes, there are some, definitely, it's like people don't see, they don't care. And I actually had something, happen the other day. It was just very little, but I got triggered and I went, you know what? I just bless them and I choose peace. Because
Hmm.
my whole life now is about peace, whatever brings me peace and calmness and, just feeling good with life.
Right. Right. I did see the kindness coming back, but then I don't know. In the last month, I feel like everything fractured, and then or do we have World War III going on? It's just, there's a lot. Yeah.
It's it's bringing it all to the light. And yeah, that's really chaotic. And it feels like I can totally get how it feels
Oh,
like
yeah.
people don't care. But again, that's where trust comes in. Trust that all this is being brought to the light. Once enough people say, okay, it feels like nobody cares anymore. What's going on? It's all been there before.
Hmm.
It's just that everything, this is being brought to the forefront. And people who are of the light and on this path of ascension will really realize, okay, whoa, just a minute. It starts from within. And that starts with me being kind to myself, choosing myself. And from that place of divine strength and kindness, letting that radiate out. And then we're all like little mini lights walking around and radiating
Yeah.
that out because you're broadcasting that all the time. And eventually, as enough people do that, more and more people do that, they really ground and center in the kindness and that beauty and light and radiance within them, and it radiates out. It will gently, gradually, with ease and grace, shift the consciousness of humanity.
Mhm.
And I know when you're living it day to day, every hour, every minute, it's like, oh my gosh, it feels like this. But we are moving through it. It's just really chaotic right now.
Oh my God, is it ever? And are there enough of us, really? I feel like it's more dark than it is light. Are there
Yeah,
enough?
that's a good question. And I was actually thinking of, I don't know how it came in, but I was just thinking about this. And it's not like, see, the darkness and those that, whether they're carrying the dark or it's a dark energy, that's very constricted. It's heavy, it's solid. And so
Hmm.
it's just like it takes up, basically, if it's a person, it takes up that much space. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't radiate, and it's so very confined. But the light flows, it's ease and grace. So you don't need as many light workers radiating kindness and ease and such because there's no limit to it. It's expansive and it will simply dissipate. It's like you go into a room and you turn on the light and
Hmm.
there's light. And that's what happens. So you don't need as many. The darkness confines itself. And the one thing the darkness and a fear-based energy can never overpower or take over or destroy is light. Like when fear sees light, it's it's gone. It runs.
It doesn't attack, huh?
Yeah, it's
Because
like
that's the way it feels like. It's like, if you say something nice to somebody, it's a, oh my God, I didn't mean anything.
oh, some
It's
people don't want that. Yeah, it challenges them because they're feeling, angry or scared or
right.
significant in that. So you come along and you're really kind and nice and bubbly. They don't want to be around that energy. So yeah, sometimes they will attack and such. So let them go their way and it might trigger you and then just let it go. Because if
Yeah.
you're triggered, like I said, I was triggered the other day by something that happened and it did trigger me and I thought about it and then I just let it go. I bless them and if they're ready to awaken, they will. And if not, just bless their journey.
Hmm. So they're not going to win. We're not going to end up in a war where just, millions of people just get killed or harmed or, you know, because I do feel like I'm looking at thinking, oh my God, they won.
You mean the darkness, the
The
fear?
dark, the
No,
dark.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, that the darkness has not won.
Hmm.
It it appears that way, and they, meaning the manipulative energies, entities, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
will want you to think that way, because then that's how the darkness wins. But it
Hmm.
absolutely is not.
Yeah.
The light absolutely yes, it's increasing.
It
And
is.
that's trust, just trust. I mean, I have a knowing because, but when you sit in that bar and you really ask yourself those questions, I mean, you have that knowing and
Hmm.
you really allow yourself, and that's the key, allow yourself to really trust, you will feel that. You'll feel that.
Yeah. I'm in the fear at the moment, I think, because of the recent shocks. Excuse me. I feel like there's been recent shocks um, to our collective systems. And it's not only here in the United States,
Mhm.
it's the whole world, the whole world. But you talk about the greatest time in human history. You have brought that up
Well,
in your,
well, I called it the Great Awakening.
oh, okay.
Yeah. I call it the Great Awakening. I believe this is what I believe and see anyways, in 100 years, 200 years, kids will be in whatever school they have then and
Mhm.
looking at history and look at this time and go, like it will be, I can see it being very well called the Great Awakening. Because
Mhm.
nothing, I mean, look at when, it started 4.5, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like pre that time and after that time, everything has shifted. the normality of getting up in the morning and going to a job and expecting everything to be the same and interacting with the same people, and all that has changed.
Everything has, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could also be called the great chaos. I
Right,
like to call
right.
it the great awakening. Might be both, yeah.
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 I would, a couple of my nieces and nephews on their college graduations, and I'd go and they'd have a speaker, and the speaker would get up and give this whole great speech about, you're going forward and all that. And I think, how come none of them get up there and say, put on the seatbelt, you're in for the ride of your life?
Yeah, yeah.
What we're facing, the changes that have gone on, but I feel like we're just at the beginning. Our world is going to change completely. And
Mhm.
it just is amazing to where you talk about the last 4 years have changed, but really going back to the beginning of the computer
Oh,
and
yeah.
how
Oh,
everything has changed. Yeah. I
oh,
still
since
don't have
yeah.
my robot though. Where's my
Yeah.
robot?
Yeah, robot assistant, yeah.
I know. I know. I have a few
Exactly, yeah.
little things, but I'm looking for the total robot.
Oh, since, computers and the internet, it has changed
Yeah.
immensely, immensely. I'm really glad I had the time before that to live
Mhm.
in that world, pre-internet and such.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. I never
it's
thought of that,
very
but
different.
that's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very different world.
Right.
And it's I heard it I've read and it's also comes in that it was really after World War II
Mhm.
that it started to really the light workers started to really focus on coming down to the earth, like when they were just soul before, just light before. And when they came into the physical incarnation, they came down with the purpose of seeding the light and awakening the light in humanity and humanity's consciousness. And that it's increased ever since.
Why why then and where have they been?
Okay. What I've heard is what I've read is that the humans were misusing nuclear energy.
Mhm.
And if the light workers, if they didn't start to, the non-physical light beings didn't start to see the light workers, as physical beings,
Mhm.
to interact with the darkness that was going on, we could actually destroy ourselves with that nuclear energy.
Mhm.
And the non-physical light world had to ensure that, the earth and its humanity kept going. So they started seeding the light workers on the earth.
So we were slipping backwards basically, and we're going to destroy ourselves. And they
In
thought,
the
oh, somebody throw out a life preserver.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But boy, that's what I worry about now, this world, that we're going back to that kind of destruction, a world of destruction, of a World War II, of war, of war, and nuclear war at that. I mean, there are people that are so greedy that they will destroy millions of people for themselves, and I feel like we're looking at that kind of thing again. But
It but that could have happened many times throughout the
yeah,
past, say, especially 10, 20, 30, even 50
mhm,
years ago, but
right.
even
Well, the
but
Cuban
then
Missile Crisis. I don't know if you
but
remember
yeah.
that, but yeah, even there.
Right, but it didn't happen, and,
Right.
the world hasn't been destroyed, and so that fear has been there. What I'm saying is the fear has been there, but
Hmm.
something, in other words, this is where I believe the light, we don't see it, we're not aware of it, but the light is creating the non-physical light beings, source, universe, angelic, beings, whatever you wanna call it, is stepping in and saying, "No, no, no, we need the earth and humanity because I
Who
believe."
else is going to entertain us?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
I
else is
know.
gonna
We need these
entertain us? Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
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 Do you think what's going on right now then is like the last gasp of 3D, of the old, of the dense, of the the ugly, the
Yes.
dark.
Yes.
So,
I mean, now in human, our linear understanding, it might still seem like a long time to, 20, 50, 30, 50 years. But
mhm,
yeah, I believe they're pulling out all stops right now. It's
yeah,
like the past 4.5 years, that huge fear narrative that has been marketed around the world. I mean, just installing, like well, it's already there, but intensifying the fear. And so people, the very air they breathe, they're full of that fear. But yes, I believe they're pulling out the dark side, pulling out all stops now because they know this is their last gasp. And that's why believe in the light, trust in the light. And when I say light, you can call it God, universe, source. You can
right.
talk to, I talk to Archangel Michael and Raphael a lot and work with
Mhm.
them a lot. And even just saying their Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, I can feel myself go, oh, because so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then, but trust overall, if I was to pick one word, it would be trust. Trust that you're going to be okay. Trust that the light is increasing. Trust that you're going to be safe. See, all this threat of a nuclear war, third world war, anything like that makes you feel unsafe, makes you feel
Mhm.
uncertain, and then you're focused on the bad and then all the unkind people in the world, and it just keep going down, down, down that space. But when you trust that, it's really chaotic right now. Yes, there are people, suffering, struggling, so bless them, send them compassion. Don't feel sorry for them. That keeps everything stuck. Bless them and send them compassion and free them to their highest and greatest good. But feeling sorry for somebody just keeps everything stuck. The energy.
How is that? Why is that?
When you feel sorry for somebody, okay, so
It's like a
imagine,
hierarchical thing.
no, it's energy, it's
Mhm.
energetic. And so imagine feeling sorry for, a person or a body of people or a country or what people are going through that struggle. Yeah, you feel the density within you? You start to feel dense. You start to feel heavy. You feel kind of shut down. Look at that. That is the energy you're sending to them. A person will never become free when they're immersed and stuck in that heavy energy. It keeps everything stuck. And animals are really good at they will let people know. Like I actually learned this really clearly through an animal communicator. She said the animals don't want you if they're, in a uh, not a good situation. They don't want you to feel sorry for them or bad for them because that just keeps them stuck. They want you to bless them, send them grace, and even if there's an, abuser involved, just even if you can't send grace to that person, at least be neutral, but send blessings and grace to the animal. In this case, the person or the body, the number of people that will free them up and free them. You can say, let's say there's a group of people suffering, say,
Mhm.
I bless you, I send you all kinds of compassion and uplifting energies, and I free you to your highest and greatest good. See, when we feel sorry for somebody, and we're taught that's a form of caring in this,
Right.
but when we feel sorry for somebody, what we're actually saying, and I know it comes from, a good place in that, but we're actually saying, I know what's best for you.
Mm.
But what if their soul is saying they're going through a hard time and their soul is saying, you know what, I need to go through this and this pain to learn something. I need to go through this so I can work through karma from past lives. Like you don't know what that person's going through and what they've lived in this life and past lives. But when you bless them, send them energies of compassion, heartfelt energy, and you say to them, say, I free you to your highest and greatest good, and I free myself to my highest and greatest good. I don't know if you felt that, but the energy just released. There, I felt the energy move within you, and you released the tension from your solar plexus.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. We did a little work before we came on, audience.
Yeah.
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 That's good. So if in reverse, if you are feeling for someone, feeling sorry for someone, or we're locking them in kind of thing to that energy field. But
I
they can
would
unlock themselves, right? I mean, we're
I wouldn't say locking them in. That's a little harsh on the person who, if you're feeling sorry for somebody. But see, when you feel sorry for somebody, or let's say people struggling and such, you're doing it from a place of generally a person is doing that because they care about somebody else and
Mhm.
they want to support them. But energetically, so I'm talking about the energy that you're sending them, you're blessing. Well, you're not blessing them, you're you're caring for them from a heavy place. It doesn't lock them in, but it maybe keeps them stuck in that struggle. So they like energy struggle is an energy.
Mhm.
You felt the energy of struggle. When you really look at it, it's a very tangled up, can be a knotted up energy. And when you're feeling sorry for them, you're actually sending them a heavy energy that is contributing to that
Oh,
knotted up energy.
rather
And
than
but when
lighter
you
energy that lifts them up, you're kind of
yeah, like
weighing them down.
Yeah, like compassion is a fifth dimensional energy. It's an energy of freedom and expansion and abundance and flow and ease and grace. So when you can send them or just send them energies, like I like to send little, puffs or little clouds or even cream puffs of love and grace from my heart. Well, that is a beautiful, light, freeing, expansive energy. But what it doesn't do, like it doesn't because it is such a high frequency and it's a light energy, it's a freeing, flowing energy. It doesn't see we're trained and we're taught, okay, if you care, you feel sorry for somebody. So if you're blessing them and setting them free to their highest and greatest good, that can create like a conflict within you because it won't feel like you're caring. But remember, caring
Mhm.
for somebody by feeling sorry for them is what you were taught. It's not a divine truth.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to all of our religions? They have all seemed to have, well, let me take that back. There are some small groups of people that have gone to the extreme,
Mhm.
but the majority of people don't have religion anymore. The religions have all kind of lost power and kind of gone away. People have become more spiritual,
Mhm.
but not organized religion. Do you know, am I
Yeah,
explaining myself properly?
I think uh, people are finding that, yeah, like often religion, not all religion, but
Hmm.
religion separates and spirituality unites. And I think as people wake
Oh,
up and they wake up to a higher consciousness and fun and laughter and abundance and flow and ease and creativity and appreciation and such. They're like, but why would I want religion when religion is saying, well, if other people don't believe like this, if they don't do this, then they're not as good as me. That doesn't feel right. Like that's not that's not
hmm,
unity. That's separating me from people. When we
lots of
separate,
rules. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think people are waking up to that. And the people who are still really stuck in a very organized religion, they're still stuck in their 3D consciousness and maybe not really ready and willing or even aware of waking up and creating unity and such. And I want to just clarify, not all religions are like that. I used to go to a
Mhm.
church called Unity and it was non-denominational, so it was just all about if you went there if you needed a pick me up, and if
Right.
if not, that
Right.
was fine, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of the organized religions
Yeah,
have
yeah.
just kind of gone away.
Mhm.
You touched on this earlier, but I'd like you to go back into it. How do you know if you're stuck in 3D?
Well, if you're struggling, if everything you do, nothing seems to work out, if you're feeling a lot of fear and anxiety, it's like maybe you have
Like I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've moved through that, Barb. You've
Mhm.
moved through a lot of stuff and creating and such. But if somebody is just stuck or let's say somebody's working a job and they're working the, regular. Now we all need money to
Mhm,
survive in this world. Your soul knew that. Your soul did not know about money per se, but they knew there was going to be an energy in your life. I'm talking about, your higher consciousness and super consciousness, and knew there was going to be an energy in your life that we now call money. So
mhm,
yeah, so we all need money to survive. So that's the first step. But it's like if you're stuck in a job and you've got dreams, you're starting to think bigger and, oh, what if this is possible? And what if I could do this? And, oh, I'd love to create this. But you're stuck in, but how's that going to, and there, I can
right.
just feel like a collective heaviness, but I need money. And then you're stuck in 3D. So the first thing is to trust. Trust that something greater is possible. Trust that there are different ways to look at the situation, like open up to new perspectives, new points of view, new ways of seeing things, and just, see what's possible. And okay, this is really what I want to do, but maybe I could also do this to make a little bit of money and such. Let's
Mhm,
say if somebody wants to quit their job and such. And the big thing is open up to possibilities.
yeah.
What if this is possible? And and so if they're always stuck, if they're struggling, if they're attracting a lot of people who are uh, mean, unkind, taking advantage of them, abusive, or and such,
Mhm,
that's your 95% of who we are is our unconscious conditioning. It's still radiating out. So if you're attracting a lot of situations, experiences, people who are just abusive or harsh or just not nice, take a look at what's within you.
uh-huh,
And that's more about doing your inner work and really releasing the trauma and the heaviness. And number one thing, be kind to yourself. Your words are energy, they're vibration and frequency. And your words can either bring you down and keep you stuck, and it will cause pain in your body as well, and
mhm.
or your words can uplift you, they can free you, and they can also, especially if it's acute pain, your words can also support you in releasing, all of that.
Phew. Why do you call this a matrix?
I guess I heard that term, the Matrix, and from the movie The Matrix, that's where it's not a term I came up with, just my
Mhm,
understanding of the Matrix is, and the Matrix it's like that's how I see it, it's like a web. So I could just call it a web. But it's like a web, like the Matrix. So 3D Matrix, I see it as interconnected, like a web of beliefs and emotions and behaviors that are all designed to be very limiting and constricting and just stuck and heavy. Like I can't, I'm not good enough. That's a core belief that most people have, some version of
yeah,
not enough, not enough. And then, manifests as not feeling good about yourself, not believing in yourself, not enough money. That manifests, for
mhm,
a lot of people. And so I just call it a matrix. That's why, but it's
yeah,
like that third dimensional fear-based field. And then I call the new earth, again, it's just a term when I started learning about it that I heard. But the new earth is just like, okay, so you know that you're in the 3D or the matrix when you're feeling heavy. We all know that feeling of just feeling heavy in your body or kind of down or depressed or
right.
sad or doubting yourself. That
Lethargic.
creates, yeah,
Yeah,
that creates that heaviness in your body. So everybody's familiar with that. We were, birthed into that. And it's like a default, it's a comfort zone.
mhm,
You don't even have to think about that. That's why it's so easy to default to that, because you don't even have to think of the heaviness and the feeling, and the harsh self-talk and that. The new earth, now, we've all experienced it when we've been in meditation. You're feeling happy, joyful, you feel at ease, you receive something you weren't expecting, and you feel that uplifting energies. They're just, you're listening to a speaker or doing a meditation or anything. You have experience that. It's that beautiful, flowing, uplifting feeling, the feeling of joyfulness, and it's possible and such. Where we get stuck, So you want to also actualize in that space. We know the space of the 3D. It's just
Mhm.
an energetic space, but we believe it's real because we feel it in our body. We experience that struggle and density and such. So what you want to imagine is imagine bringing your physical self and your physical desires into that uplifting, expansive space. So
Yeah.
sometimes we forget if we're feeling really, really good. Let's say you're feeling really good and you're feeling uplifted and just amazing. And then, the meditation ends or you come out of that space and you can feel heavy again.
Mhm.
But what if you were in that space? Imagine, here's something you can do. Next time you're in that space, imagine you're meeting people, you're talking to them, you're seeing other people in that space. And you will notice if you do this, you're eventually notice it in your physical life as well, that as you meet people that are, do you want to do a little bit of a process right now?
Yeah, I'll go for it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
it'll show everybody how you work too.
okay.
Yeah.
So just take a deep breath in where we're just going to imagine right now that, so the space of the new earth.
Mhm.
There you go. It's that expansive, light-filled, gentle, kind space. Focus on your heart. Just put your attention on your heart right now. There you go. Let your heart be filled up with that beautiful divine presence and love. There's some happiness. Let the child within you feel and be happy. Feel heard, feel safe, expansive, light, free. There you go. Your whole self, your entire body, mind, soul, and spirit feels relaxed, at ease, safe, expansive, joyful, uplifted. And as you're in this space, just imagine, you can open your eyes if you want, or you can just imagine it. Imagine that as you're in this beautiful, radiant, expansive, light-filled space, you notice there's other people walking around. And as you look at these people, first of all, you're a little bit startled because you thought you were the only one in this beautiful, magical, expansive, light-filled space, this colorful space. But now you notice there are other people. But continue to let your eyes soften, your entire body soften. There you go. And just imagine you're looking at these people walking around in this beautiful, light-filled space. And as you do, and as your eyes adjust to the light, you realize that yes, they're people, they're walking around, but it's like there's light, there's a little shimmer of light radiating from them. And it's almost like their skin, their body feels softer, it appears softer. So imagine you walk up to one of these people and you start talking to them and you start this conversation and you look at this person and you look into their eyes and you see the light and the softness and the grace, the beauty radiating from their eyes. And your entire self relaxes. You feel safe, at ease, you feel uplifted, you feel a sense of belonging. This is where your mind, body, heart, soul belongs. You feel at ease. And you have this amazing, uplifting conversation with this person. You even exchange numbers. You're going to stay in touch. You have such a connection with them. And you're walking around. And as you walk around, you see there's nature, of course. There's beautiful nature. There's water. There's birds singing. You feel uplifted. There's also buildings. There's this is the this is the world of the new earth, the existence of the new earth. You're physically experiencing this. Yes, your body is here right now. Just let your body be here now in this space of the new earth, the fifth dimension and above. And you're feeling at ease and you realize this space is real. It's actually real. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to exist in this space and allowing your body to be in this space as well. You're here, mind, body, spirit, and soul, all of you. You're interacting with people. You're going into various buildings. Ah, there you go. You just saw where you live in this space. You just saw your home and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't actually think I could exist and live in this space. Yes, you can. Just allow the beauty, the radiance of this to fill you up and be one with this. And let yourself ground into this, into the new earth. Let yourself ground into this beautiful space of the new earth. It's real. Absolutely mind. This is real. You've experienced this space. Your body has and is experiencing this space. Now you know it's real. And now that you have experienced it in the energetic space, it's just a matter of time until you manifest this into your physical space. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let that go. So shokabasa babaka wala sa shoko. So shokabasa wala ka. Awala sa. So shokabasa babaka. Tukabase babaka. So shokabasa wala ka. Wala sa shoko. So shokabasa wala ka. Awala sa. So shokabasa babaka. Tukabase. There you go, my friend. Namaste.
Wow, that was wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's nice. It's beautiful to be in that space, and I
It is.
think that's what we forget. Like you felt that, so and
Mhm.
anybody's listening to this that felt that being in that space. But what we forget is that's a real space. It's not just you're not just feeling
Right.
that. It's not just this flowing space of energy. It's a real energetic space. And
Mhm.
when you meet somebody, now that you've experienced that in the energetic world and your mind is aware of that, you meet somebody and you look in their eyes and you see that softness and that kindness and that light radiating from them, and you go, okay, this person's from the new earth, even if they're not aware of it, but that
Yeah.
kindness and love and light is radiating from them. And there are people out there, and the more it's like creating that. See, when we create something and we emotionally connect to it in the energetic space, and you continue to think about that, to connect to it, to emotionally like feel that, because your emotions are like the magnet that create it, that magnetize it towards you and you towards them. The more you create that in the energetic space, it's just a matter of time before it's created in the physical space.
Mhm. And how about if you have, although in that space you don't have them, I was going to say blocks or anger or fear or whatever, but in that space you don't have it. You don't seem to
That's
have that.
really good question, Barb. And that's why it's so powerful to go into this space and to listen to something like this and, go into that, they can listen to that over and over again. It is going to bring up stuff. Absolutely. See, as we expand, and this is where some people get stuck. So it's a good question. As we expand and, your energy expands, your consciousness, your understanding, your awareness expands, all that stuff, the heaviness, the density is going to come up within you. Now, that's where it might manifest into struggle, feeling stuck, or you just might be aware, okay, there's shame, there's fear coming up, anxiety. Let it go. See, often what we do when emotions are coming up and we're saying, so you feel so good, you feel so amazing, and
Mhm.
you're imagining of what's possible. And then, you come out of that space. Let's say shame comes up. Oh, how could I even dream of that? Like, how could I even believe that's possible? And
Yeah.
and just let the shame come up. Just you can talk to your emotions. Everything is consciousness. I talk to my emotions all the time.
Mm.
And you can say something like, so acknowledge it. That's the first step to moving through your emotions. You, first of all, notice what you're feeling. You acknowledge it. Okay, there you are, shame. Yeah, I can see you're back. And then just accept it. And you can go as far as that, just accepting it. Acceptance allows it to be released. But you can also talk to it. Oh, shame, you're coming up again. Is there anything I'm supposed to get from you, shame? Is there anything I'm supposed to learn? No? Okay, well, shame. I appreciate you coming up so, you can be witnessed and acknowledged, but now it's time for you to be released. So, hey, shame, I'm just going to let you be released and just let it go. There you
And
go.
but you also, we're actually at the end of the show, and I'm gonna go on a little bit more. I want this.
Okay.
I do run over most of the time. Um, but when you work with someone, you actually are able to take some of those energies out and deactivate them,
Uh,
or
well,
some
yeah,
of
for a
those
sense.
emotions and energies. Yeah.
So what I do specifically is go right in deep into the unconscious and identify the emotional frequencies that are keeping a person stuck in trauma or stuck in struggle or whatever. And as that releases, see, that changes your entire energy being. As that releases, and other stuff will come up, or we'll go deeper into that. And we'll go, let's say if it's money, we'll go as deep into that as is necessary in the moment. And uh, you will move as that is released, you allow the higher frequencies to feel like you start to allow yourself to feel good, happy, joyful. And let's say it's money, be in the flow of money. But yeah, that's specifically what I do is tap into, whether it's, in working individually or group consciousness, the
Mhm.
emotional frequencies that keep people stuck. And it's kind of, I guess you could say, a gift I was blessed with and I became aware of.
Yeah.
And once that key emotional frequency is identified and released, everything can start to unravel. And then we go deeper and deeper into that until that's cleared out and you start feeling happy, joyful, free, light, abundant, flowing, whatever you're looking for.
Hmm. So this is where I ask, where can anybody get hold of you, and what do you have coming up?
Okay. My website is courageinaction.com. So courageinaction.com. And well, I offer about 4 times a year. It's a program called 33 Days of Healing, and that's on my website. You can see when the next one is coming up or one's currently happening. And that offers daily healing, group healing that I send out remotely.
Mhm.
There's 2 group Q&A calls. That's about over 4.5 hours in total. You can ask all kinds of questions. We do healings and activations. There's meditations. Plus, I also send out, they're called messages from spirit. So these are channeled messages that I send out as MP3s, as recordings. So,
Mhm.
and I send them out twice a week. So you get multiple MP3s through that. And in fact, if you want something free, go to my website and just enter your email and you get a free ebook with, there's several written messages from spirit and also several MP3s. So, and that's free. And there's a, lot of just words of wisdom there. Just enter your email.
Mhm.
And again, that's courageinaction.com.
And you also work with people one on one,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. So it's
yeah.
either phone sessions or people will also send me their picture and I just work from the picture. I can work with people all over the world, like connect to the phone through them that way. Or
Hmm.
but if they just want, they're really, they don't really can't figure out the time or something, just send me the picture and whatever issue you want cleared and we just focus. So I can do a longer session. I also do something called a freedom clearing. It's 25 to 30 minutes.
Hmm.
And if a person tells me what the issue is, we go really deep into that. And I've had people say, like, how did you know that happened to me when I was 2 years old? Like, my mom told me that happened when I was two.
Yeah.
And we'll clear out that trauma and such. I mean, that's just my guides telling me what's going on. And we'll go really deep into that. I had one person who I was just amazed when she emailed me. She just told me financial abundance. That's all she said is, well,
Hmm.
increase financial abundance. So I, did a freedom clearing for her just from the picture and sent it to her. Didn't hear anything back. She got back to me about, I guess it was about a year later, and she told me, she didn't tell me, hadn't told me before. She said, I had been trying to buy a house for 5 years. And after the freedom clearing where you're focused on abundance, I got an offer accepted on the house. I just moved in, and
Wow.
by that time she had been there 6 months,
Yeah.
and she'd been trying for 5 years. And as soon as
That's
she,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
just and I've actually, I don't know why, I've had a few people buy houses after
Yeah.
freedom clearing.
I,
Yeah,
I read your testimonials. A number of them were houses
yeah,
where
I don't
they
know
had been
why, but
trying
yeah,
and they couldn't seem to get one, and,
yeah,
mortgages falling through, or, all kinds of things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's
seems to have happened
fabulous.
a few times. So,
Yeah. Joy, thanks so much for being on the show with me. I've really enjoyed it, and it's been very enlightening. I really appreciate it.
well,
And I
thank you, Barb.
appreciate your work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate being on your show.
It's
Been awesome.
great. Thanks. Bye-bye.